Literacy is the ability to understand and use written and spoken languages to communicate specific ideas and knowledge. It is also a person's knowledge of a particular subject or field. For example, in order to know how to drive or where to park, you have to be able to read road signs. If you cannot read the road signs, it is very likely you will get a ticket, especially around campus.
How do your literacies affect your own life?
I would probably say my literacies affect my life because I speak Spanish and I could communicate with a different type of people as well as get a better job in the future because Spanish is such a main language in the workplace today.
Kyle, what do you think about literacy?
Literacy. I want to sit down and do when I get done with my test, when I get all this other smart knowledge out of my head.
Okay, sounds good. Do you think the mark of a literate person has changed over time?
I definitely think the mark of a literate person has changed over time. A while ago it used to have been literacy was defined by reading and writing. Now, literacy encompasses so many different things. You can be literate in cleaning. You can be literate in skiing. You can also have a literacy in cooking. When you have these literacies, you can also teach these to other people. So being literate doesn't necessarily just mean to read and write.
Okay, so is it harder or easier for a person to be considered literate today than, say, like 100 years ago?
100 years ago, there were people who didn't even have the right to vote, including women and African Americans. You couldn't even express yourself or your intelligence. There weren't schools available. There was nothing there unless you were upper class or had money. So 100 years ago, the definition of literacy and the means of attaining becoming literate were completely different. So in the past 100 years, literacy has evolved tremendously.
Thank you. How does the literacy or illiteracy of other people impact you?
Everyone knows that you shouldn't judge a person on how they speak. However, if I was an employer and I was looking for somebody to hire, I would be more apt to hire the person who is well-spoken and is not coming in speaking in slang and bad grammar, because that just is a reflection of their work ethic and them as a person.
Describe a time when you felt illiterate.
A time I felt illiterate was in a class known as modern algebra. Even though I went to the teacher's office every day after class, it didn't matter. I tried to do the homework, it didn't help. I just did not understand the topic. I was very confused, but it didn't end up mattering in the end because I still got a passing grade.
Are there literacies that don't require reading? How is a literacy different than a skill?
How is literacy different than a skill? How is literacy not different than a skill? I mean, people can be literate not even knowing how to read. Still yet, reading is important. Don't get me wrong. But if you are literate in a certain area, for instance, maybe baseball, okay? I might be literate in baseball, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I had to read in order to learn those skills. Therefore, I might not have to read to pass those skills on and allow another person to become literate. So, does it matter? You be the judge. I feel illiterate right now because I don't know how to answer that question. Therefore, I would be illiterate in answering questions, which would be very confusing considering I answer questions every day. So it may just be this question that I'm illiterate at answering. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
What do you think about literacy?